What are we looking at?
It's not a plane or helo, but it's big. Round. If it's a drone, it's nothing I've seen.
Dr. Stevens, the only way to know if it'll harm us is to see how it reacts to human contact.
Did you see that? That was human, right?
Well, Peterson said it transformed.
So you don't see anything weird here?
I'll take weird Larson over regular Larson any day.
Alpha 8? Are you here?
I blinked for like a second, and it was just gone.
Bravo leader. Hangar is clear and secure. No sign of Phillips or the asset. Over.
Let's catch ourselves an alien.
What do you mean? Who are you? I am Larson.
No. We call you Alpha 8.
Michael, no!
I don't know where that thing is, but it wasn't my mom. Hi, I'm Cameron Ailey. Follow along as I play Daniel Nichols in the new fiction podcast, Alpha 8, Season 1. A family-friendly audio drama created by my mom, Stephanie Ailey, and produced by Busy Media Group. Follow Alpha 8 on Apple Podcasts, Apollo Plus, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Yeah, We Read It in the 100 series. I am one of your hosts, Meggie.
And I'm also one of your hosts. My name is Laura.
And on this episode, we are covering the 100 Homecoming. Last two books have been pretty freaking crazy, if I do say so myself.
And this book is no different. Things get very crazy yet again.
Where we left off with day 21 was everyone from space was coming down on the dropships. There had been a huge scramble similar to the Titanic. Cass Morgan was very heavy-handed in making it the Titanic scene.
We all had a Titanic phase, and Cass Morgan just printed it into a book. That's amazing.
When the one guy brought out the violin as the dropships were going down, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That was so funny.
Well,
I can't get over it.
It's also like, it makes me think a lot more because it's like, we know their musical instruments were in like oxygen proof containers. And it's like, how out did he have to tune it before? Like, how out of tune was this instrument as it's getting played?
He's playing whatever they play as the Titanic ships went down, and it's just so out of key. Oh my god. They're like, actually, I know it's your passion project. Stop. Just stop now. Don't pursue it. Keep your day job.
Like, hey man, just get in line for a dropship. Like, this is not the time to be playing sad music.
So that is where we left off. Every one of the 100 was looking up at the sky as people were just kind of shooting down in the dropships. And that's where Homecoming starts.
Let's check in with Glass. This is picking up right where we left off with her mother dying a brutal death as the doors closed.
Bummer.
So the ship is catapulting to Earth again. They really take crash landing literally in this world. The roof is torn off during the landing. Glass is like replaying this death over and over again.
The roof is on fire, dare I say.
Oof, yeah, and Glass is gonna wake up on the ground with like her legs in like the like shallow end of the start of the lake, and realizes she's stained with blood, but it's not hers. And Glass is actually pretty scar free, which is cool. She's able to like get up and move around, move about the cabin as you will on an airplane. Yes. And she's going to comfort an injured woman, but she's also going to most importantly look for Luke. Where'd that guy wind up?
Yeah, this woman is like, hey, can you help me find my son? And she's like, sure. Right after I find my boyfriend, she's doing like the doy hands.
Yeah, Glass is very ride or die, but it worries me that Glass, especially in this book, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, Glass seems a little like too blinded by like, Luke is my person.
Yeah, she's got a one-track mind, and if you've learned from friends who focus their entire life on just the person they're dating, guess what? Someday you guys might break up, and then who's going to be there? Who's going to be looking for your son after the dropship falls out of the sky? Okay? Invest in your community, Glass.
You need get at least one friend outside of your partner, so that way when you guys break up, you have at least one friend to hang out with.
I don't mean to be serving the tea, but it is hot, so listen to us at Yeah, We Read It.
It's just how the world needs to work. Be practical, people.
So she does find Luke battered and bruised near a tree, wakes him up to be like, wake up, you dummy. Welcome to Earth. That's literally what she says.
Hey, sexy, we're on Earth.
And she is still sad that mom is dead. Let's take a minute. Luke is super battered and bruised.
Luke is barely conscious. So, like, Like, it's one of those things that I'm like, shit, is Luke gonna die? He doesn't, but whatever. Wells is with Sasha and the other 100 at their camp around various fires that they have. They see the dropships. Him, Clarke, and others are going to go spring into action and, help people. Clarke notices there's about 350 people, and she's starting to take in all of the people. She's really, really locked the fuck in here, which is awesome to see. She does see that her biology teacher is dead on the ground, which is super sad. She also notices Dr. Lahiri, who obviously got her sentenced in confinement in previous 100 world. So she's like, he's here, but he does apologize. So like maybe things will be okay.
Maybe they can be friends now. He also admits that Clarke's parents would be super proud of her, and her diagnosis for him as doctor is that they just need to reset his shoulder. I kind of took it as she was like, that's what we got to do. We'll come back to it later. And it really cracked me up because I was like, you could reset it right now.
Well, I kind of read that as like there's other people with more serious injuries than me taking like the 5 minutes to reset your shoulder right now.
I guess that's fair.
But
there is only one of her.
Agree to disagree. There's only one. Honestly, like I'm kind of surprised that we're this far in, and Clarke doesn't have like one little apprentice that she's like, "Hey, let me teach you exactly what I know in case something bad happens to me."
Yeah, no, she's got to take.
I get
I
it's.
don't.
It's
She
been a
hasn't
crazy
really
few
had a
weeks.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's been a crazy few weeks. I get it.
She does run into this guy named Scott, who was a guard who essentially was super controlling. Kind of, they have a flashback moment where he like almost tries to show his penis to her just unprompted.
Yeah, he's a little creeper. For introducing a character like this very late into a series, Cass Morgan does a great job of like, Scott's horrible. This is a flashback showing how horrible he is. Now we check back in with why like Clarke feels so uneasy running into him. Like he basically tries to like assault Clarke while she's on the job and show her his penis, and it's so uncomfortable and so awful. And he does remember Clarke, which is even worse.
He doesn't even miss a beat. Imagine you just catapulted out of space. I would be a little bit traumatized. I think I would ease off of being a slime ball, but she is bandaging up his hand and he is immediately back on his game.
Yeah, he's like, can't wait to pick up right where we left off. And she's like, dude, not the time. Like, there's literally like dead people next to you. What are you doing?
I love this next scene, which is Glass and Wells finally reunite, and it seems like fuel is leaking out of the dropships. There's a stray ember that's like, so everyone in the movies are like, it's gonna blow! And then Glass knocks Wells to the ground, and they reunite. Very sweet, best friends, besties.
Yeah, they do a little like check in. Wells is like, hey, by the way, there's people who live on Earth, and I'm dating one of them.
And she's like, your dad's in a coma.
Yeah, and she's like, your dad's in a coma, but like maybe he's cool, maybe he's fine.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not cool. Yeah, she's like behind him every time he turns around. He like turns to Clarke. He's like, "My dad's doing okay." And Glass is like, "No, he's not. No, he's not."
No. Glass also introduces him to Luke finally, which also is a little strange to me. You wouldn't think that like they would find a time to meet him on the dropship, considering they're best friends.
Yeah, and he's clearly been around for a while. He impregnated her, and she was at least 3 months along.
I get like they're Phoenicians and he's from Walden, but it's like I think we should take the time to go over to Walden and introduce you to my best friend.
Exactly, Glass. So how much
why
does this guy
am I
even
going
mean
to
to
date
you?
someone who hasn't met my best friend yet?
Glass is trying to help out with people, and she's realizing that no one here really likes her. People from the dropships who came down are pissed off that the Vice Chancellor Rhodes gave her a seat, and then the 100 is pissed off that she ran off the ship. But she does find a place with helping Clarke in the infirmary, and she's gonna clean pans, which Clarke is like, I'll come with. And they kind of have like a girls' moment. They kiki.
Yeah.
They work it out on the remix.
It's this moment is really, I think, nice and well placed in this book because we know from flashbacks from the prior books that Glass was kind of a mean and a bitch and a bully to Clarke. But we also know that like Clarke used to date Wells. Wells is Glass's best friend. And so they have this kind of awkward exchange that turns it like endearing. And it ends with like Clarke being like, hey Glass, I'm really glad you're here, which is like so like nice. And it's really, really good to see that it's not like, oh, we're holding things over each other.
Yes, the first thing Clarke tells Glass is that Wells and Bellamy are brothers, which would not be the first thing I would probably
No.
bring up the fact that I'm nervous because he shot the chancellor and the vice chancellor's down here, but to each their own.
You know, she does let slip that Bellamy is hiding in the woods right now because it's like things could go sour pretty quick for him. And it's so funny because she, like, Glass just kind of turns and sees like a figure just standing in the woods and she's like, oh God. And Clark's
I
like,
know.
that's
I
just
loved that.
Bellamy. He's hiding.
He's just crazy. He's just being a kooky boy, but he is nearby. I know. I loved the idea of him like hovering and just seeing his eyes. And Clark's like,
Yeah.
you don't gotta worry
Like,
about it.
and
Don't
it's
worry.
like, for someone who's supposed to be hiding in the woods, stop lurking at the corner of camp where people can clearly see you, Bellamy.
It defeats the purpose. Go farther. Go away.
Like, literally go build like a little tree house, hang out in there go like 10 yards past the tree line, please, for the love of God.
He has no idea the stakes, which is that, as we've learned over the past few books, Vice Chancellor Rhodes is chaotic evil.
Awful. He's absolutely awful.
He is not going to pardon you. It is not chill anymore.
But Bellamy's in the woods throwing himself a little pity party. He's like, man, I can't believe we have to hang out in the woods and not hunt and help around camp.
Rhodes has 20 guards with guns.
Which
and
is like also shocking that this many guards made it down to Earth and they're already immediately like, yeah, I guess I'll just keep being a guard.
Yeah,
expand
they're like,
your horizons.
They're like, perfect. We're going to bring totalitarianism down to Earth as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chancellor does give a speech here that basically they're going to still maintain order, which is execution. That's how it's been.
It's bad. Like, it's not even like it's not empowering. It's literally Rhodes being like, my rules or bust, my way or the highway. If you disagree, you will be floated, but our version is executed.
You'll be floated off the island.
And Bellamy here, he's like, I am hearing this. I am registering that it's not safe for me to be here. So I'm just gonna glow. I'm gonna leave camp. And this bitch doesn't like do it good. He starts stepping on all of the twigs. He like runs into a tree. And again, he's not hiding far enough back. So all the guards turn and are like, what the fuck, dude? We're gonna shoot you now. So they shoot Bellamy in the shoulder. He does not get to escape. And he's immediately a prisoner.
I know. He's like passing out as Clarke reaches him. Super sad.
Very sad.
In the infirmary, Wells is overlooking Bellamy. He's taking notes of the changes that are happening in the camp. Most noticeably, the guards are on patrol now that they know about the Earthborns via Wells. Wells has let them know there are vicious Earthborns out there. And the guards are Wells is kind of delegating tasks to the new colonists who join the 100, but Vice Chancellor is like, listen, buddy, enjoy your youth. We're here, we got it, we're gonna take control. And Wells is like, no. I'm just saying it's been pretty hard on Earth. We've lost 2 people. Listen to what we've learned. And he's like, don't even worry about it.
Literally. This like pissed me off so much because obviously, Rhodes is a piece of shit, but like Wells is like, yeah, cool. You can be leader, but maybe you want to know some things that I've learned from being here for the past month. And Rhodes is like, psh, how hard can it be, my guy? Go be a teen or something. And Wells is like, no, literally, I have so many things I would love to tell you. Give me 10 minutes. And he's like, got it, dude. We're fine. You're good. And it's just Rhodes is very silencing, which is annoying.
He is so dismissive. Wells notices, he's like, I got one shot. I gotta take it. Can you please pardon Bellamy? He is so important to us staying alive because he is the only one who knows how to hunt and gather food. And Vice Chancellor's like, no, he's a murderer, which would piss me the fuck off if I could forgive someone who shot and put my dad in a coma.
Well,
bitch,
but
what
it's also
right
like,
do you have?
And that scene was written so chaotically, obviously, because it's a very like chaotic and fast scene. But we also learned that Bellamy wasn't even the one who shot the Chancellor. It was because he was threatening to shoot him that somebody was shooting at Bellamy, and someone else shot the Chancellor. But they're blaming Bellamy for someone else's bad aim. Not on my watch.
No.
But Clarke's stitches on Bellamy's shoulder are not holding well. We know that the bullet is not still in him. It looks like it went straight through, which is great. It didn't hit any major arteries, but it's still a very, very deep wound. And Clarke is also pissed because like there's 2 guards constantly like lurking over Bellamy's cot in the infirmary, and she's like, I gotta like do my job. This is awful.
Yeah, she's like, where is he gonna go?
Like literally, like
he's got shot.
He's also like delirious because he's passed out constantly.
She also tells Dr. Lahiri in this moment that she thinks her parents might still be on Earth alive because of the dropships. She doesn't really get a moment to talk to him though because the Vice Chancellor walks in and they are going to put Bellamy in confinement. And this is where Clarke gets the idea. She's like, listen, I know one of the guards. I know that guard is a slime ball and I know exactly what he wants. So she starts getting a plan set in motion.
Well, yeah, and this is also because Glass overhears Rhodes discuss the trial with some guards and is basically like, we're not really going to give Bellamy a fair trial, and we're going to have him shot immediately, essentially. Like, the sentence is going to be death. We're going to execute him. I'm going to use this guy, Luke, to execute him. And so Glass goes to tell Luke and is like, hey, they're going to try to get you to kill Bellamy. And Luke's like, don't worry, babe, I won't do it. And then Glass goes to tell Clarke, and that's when Clarke is like, I got to get the fuck out of here, and I'm going to use Scott to get Bellamy free.
I love that Glass in this moment. There is an aside paragraph where she tells Luke this, and Luke is like, we gotta go, which, yeah, duh. And she finds it really hot that he has a resounding sense of morals and ethics.
Yeah, she's like, wow, what a stand-up guy that he refuses to shoot someone. And it's like, that should be a pretty normal feeling.
Yeah. But Luke is going to propose that they leave tonight. They're going to pack up, they're going to head out. And I don't know what the fuck Clarke is going to do because they've transported Bellamy to a new prison cabin that they put up so fast. I mean, hard working.
It's also like, Luke's like, we're going to leave. And Clarke's like, cool, I'm going to seduce a guard to get Bellamy free. And it's like, why didn't Luke just help her get Bellamy out if he's a fucking guard? That would have been so much easier.
I know. I have no idea because you could be like, I need to bring him to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And then just
like,
run off.
Literally, Luke's like, nope, not my problem.
Well, Glass does tell Clarke exactly that it's not their problem. They're going to leave. And she's thinking that this is going to go over well because it's going to buy a bit of time for her and Luke, but not necessarily
not for Bellamy. It's
Clarke.
Like, if we know there's 20 guards, Glass, and you just remove one of the guards, there's still 19 other guards that could kill him.
Yeah, so they're
going
to
like, no, but it's really important for my moral high ground that I'm nowhere near this murder.
I just can't see it happen. So sad that your new boyfriend
it makes me really uncomfortable, so I'm going to remove myself from the situation.
I'd be like, girl, we were just making up. You're going to do something that's going to piss me the fuck off right away?
I'd be like, maybe let's put our thinking caps on and think of maybe 3 other plans and then pick the best one. You leaving right now is like the easiest option.
It also just like changes nothing. They still would have protection in the camp, which honestly maybe makes Glass a really great character because she does not realize how far her privilege gets her continuously.
Like, literally, it's like, also like, Glass, you think you just got here and you're gonna be fine out there? Good luck.
Good luck. So au revoir to Glass and Luke.
But we get an important scene here where Wells is taking inventory of the camp while he's thinking things over. We love a productive king who's like, wow, I need to clear my mind. Let me do something that's going to ultimately help the greater good of the people at the camp. And Wells has been sussing out this girl Kendall for a couple books now, and she's still acting fucking weird. He notices her lurking by the inventory cabin, and he really swears that he sees her put something in the water. But she's being really weird, and she leaves really quickly, and she's like, you're being crazy, my guy.
So he goes to Vice Chancellor Rhodes. He's like, gossip our Vice Chancellor. I find Kendall super suspicious. I think she's dropping something in our water, maybe poisoning us. And the Vice Chancellor's like, okay, we can't go on hearsay. And Wells is like, hear me out. When Priya died, the handwriting on her foot marked the handwriting on the gravestone. And Kendall was the one that was kind of writing everything. And Vice Chancellor's super pissed. He's like, I'm not going to fucking sentence a woman to death just because you have a conspiracy.
Yeah, he's like, but I'm going to sentence a guy to death because I have a conspiracy. That's the difference in our power.
Exactly.
Clarke enlists Wells to help get Bellamy. Wells is essentially going to use Sasha to create a diversion while Clarke goes into Scott mode. She gets Scott away from the entrance to Bellamy's confinement cabin, gets him into the supply shed. flirts super hard and leads him into the woods, where she jabs a needle into his neck and sedates him, which is really fucking cool.
Fucking awesome. I wish someone loved me enough to do that to my worst enemy.
I'd do that to your worst enemy, Meg.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would do that to your worst enemy too.
Hey, thanks.
So Bellamy, he is in confinement. He's trying to get off these cuffs that basically morph to his every movement. Crazy.
Gross.
Clarke bursts through with the keys to spring him out of there, and Sasha is making noise in the woods with some invention she made that essentially makes it sound like the camp is under attack.
Yeah.
So Wells, Clarke, and Bellamy take this moment to sneak out. They meet up with Sasha, and she brings them to Mount Weather, where they are going to have, refuge for a little bit.
Yeah. So Clarke and Bellamy, they get like the one spare cabin that Mount Weather has.
Right,
And,
okay, upgrade.
and she takes Wells to like this cute little tree house that's all up in a tree. And they're going to hook up while they're in there because they're like, great, now that we are escaped fugitives, we're going to have sex in a tree.
Yeah, they really are. Gless and Luke, meanwhile, are home free in the woods after escaping the guards. They're just kind of enjoying Earth. They're seeing some flowers.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't pick the flowers. The flowers are too pretty. They're laying around. They're making out. You know,
Yeah.
just a typical day off in high school.
Yeah, and after two nights, they finally come across like a little house, like a little stone house that's next to a river, has a small little boat. And they're like, what if we just like lived in this house for a couple of nights? So that's what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Glass does feel a little bit uneasy about the house, though. She's like, it feels like something is off when we go to sleep. Maybe it's because I still haven't told Luke about the fact that I sentenced his best friend Carter to die.
Yeah,
But
we still
it
haven't
doesn't
had
feel
that
like it's time.
conversation. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, no, she still hasn't found the right time. And Bellamy also is similarly feeling a little bit uneasy in his new home because this many people have never really been kind to him, which is
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, you get a lot of just like deep Bellamy emotional lore because it's like he's just literally like sitting on the ground and it's like there's like people just going about their daily tasks. He's injured, but it's like this town is such a well-oiled machine that it's not like he needs to be working constantly. And people are like, dude, you're injured, just rest. And so he's like, I've never had like I truly don't have anything to do and I don't know what to do with that. And
Yeah, they have to
Max,
keep convincing him like not to flee. They're like,
yeah,
do
yeah,
not
Max
flee.
Max comes and talks to him and he's like, dude, I understand wanting to leave, but like, I think that's such a bad idea because not only are like your people looking for you, but this other faction would just obliterate you any second they got. So like, dude, just stay put. Let's breathe for a second. Max is
He's
a
like-
very, very well-rounded person.
Yes, Max is also like, tell your girlfriend to chill too. She can't go looking for her parents right now. I cannot emphasize enough how dangerous this faction of the Earthborns are.
Right now. Now is not
Now's
the
not the time.
time.
Everyone take a week off. Take your spring
Literally.
break. Take your
Please.
PTO.
Literally, you guys, we gave you a little cabin. Go hang out in your little cabin for a little bit. That's all you need. Week off in the cabin.
Week off in the cabin because corporate America is not going to be this nice once they develop it on Earth. Okay,
Exactly.
take your time off.
Take your time. Take your PTO. An armed group from the colony is from the space colony of people is going to approach Mount Weather. Max is going to signal for everyone to hide in the town hall so they can all address these guards that are coming up. And the guards enter and are basically like, we want that guy, and point directly at Bellamy. And Max is like, great, I'm going to have my people vote if we will give you that guy, Bellamy. And Bellamy's like getting up, like stretching out, ready to go with the guards. And everybody votes against giving Bellamy away because this is a very peaceful group of people that is like, no, we don't want to give you someone just so you can kill them. We're good.
Which is very sweet. Bellamy once again is like, this is so touching that I can't let all these innocent people die for me. I should leave.
Bellamy, like literally Bellamy,
Relax.
like it's like, and I hate that it's like beating a dead horse because Bellamy gets to a point and it's like, yeah, you're right, I'll stay. And then 2 pages later, he's like, I need to leave. This is horrible. I am the worst person. And it's like, Bellamy, just let other people take care of you for once.
Bellamy, get a gratitude journal. Write 5 things you like about yourself down every day, and someday maybe it will manifest in work.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. We're gonna check in with Glass and Luke, who are still in their own little bubble. They have been in this house for like 2 days, and they're like, "Where do we go next? Are we gonna find another little house at some point?" And they're just getting by. And one night, over in the window, a jump scare. There's an Earthborn in there.
Terrifying. That would scare me so much.
So bad, so bad.
And so Luke is going to take off after them with his gun to confront these are the evil Earthborns. We're finally getting our introduction to this faction of Earthborns. Luke is like standing with his gun. They're all surrounding him in the woods. He just shoots into the sky to kind of scare them. Glass is caught up. She is right behind his back. And as he shoots into the sky, one of them is going to throw a spear into his leg. And it is so bad that it's described later on that like Glass can see his bone. So
Yeah.
just get that in your head because
That
it's
is
not
one
good.
sharp spear.
What the fuck are they going to do? Because now these Earthborns, they're surrounding the cabin. They go back to the cabin. They are locked in.
Surrounded.
They're
Yeah.
surrounded.
But we don't have time to figure out how that's going to play out just yet because Clarke is once again fixing Bellamy's stinking stitches. They are still not holding. And Max, Wells, and Sasha all come over. Max is going to tell them to go inside, but Wells is like, we need to get everybody underground. I guarantee Rhodes is planning an attack, and I really think we just need to make sure everybody is safe. Rhodes is a piece of shit. He would like stop at nothing to just get this one prisoner, which is so fucking stupid. But Max is hesitant, but he does like listen to Wells. Like Max is truly the foil to Rhodes, and everybody goes into Mount Weather.
Yes. Max is a little bit reluctant because he was the last person born under the mountain, and he was like, I keep calling it under the mountain like it's Akatar, but it is under the mountain.
Yeah.
He was born there, and he was like, some people lived here for so long without even seeing the stars. We don't want to go back to where we came from, but they have to, and they file down the mountain. In this mountain, Clarke finds a radio hall section. She asks Max for the key, and he's like, I mean, you can try your best to connect. We can't really get a signal. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But she's thinking that she can kind of like in the background overhear her parents talking on the radio. So she's fiddling around with the radio. It's static, but it's making her excited thinking her like parents are out there.
It's giving her hope. We also learned that like Max is basically like, no, it doesn't really do anything. But we still try to send signals out like once a month just because like what if? We never know. And Clarke's tinkering around the equipment. Bellamy once again comes in and is like, Clarke, I really think we need to leave. I'm really sick of people protecting me. And she's like, dude, let people protect you for the millionth fucking time.
Bellamy would be great at improv because that's rule of threes. He's done it 3 times.
Bellamy's run a perfect Herald right now.
He's like, callback. Hey, callback moment.
Callback moment.
Picking up at beat 3B. Once again, we gotta leave. Meanwhile, everyone is stressed right now. Tension is running high. Wells cannot sleep because he is also on the same beat as Bellamy, where he's feeling a little bit guilty that innocent people are putting themselves on the line.
Yeah.
Sasha's like, honestly, don't worry. Before this whole war starts too, I should probably go grab us some more food upstairs. Up there.
Up on the earth, outside of the mountain.
And she slips out for more food, but she is gone so long she's not coming back, and Wells is starting to get stressed. So Wells goes, he asks Max, he's like, hey, do you know where Sasha is? She's been up there for a while. And Max is like, my stupid fucking daughter. What do you mean she's been up there for a while?
Max
I
is
didn't
like,
know she left.
She what? And yeah, everybody's been taken care of. And Max is like, Wells, you stay here. We're going to go figure out where the fuck that girl went. But Wells doesn't listen. He's going to go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Wells finds Sasha like gasping for help on the ground, and she's covered in blood.
Yeah, she's been kind of shot through the abdomen with a bullet. That's not good. Not an arrow, not a spear, though I feel like that would probably also be just as effective.
Yeah.
So he rushes her to Clarke in the hospital, but I mean there's truly nothing Clarke can do. She's going to die.
Yeah, Clarke literally, like, she gives, like, Sasha a sedative to, like, make it a little less painful, but she has to tell Max and Wells there's literally nothing she can do, and she thinks it's best that they just spend some time with Sasha. So Max and Wells are both gonna say goodbye as Sasha ultimately dies.
It was really fucking sad.
It
It was
was
really
it
sad.
was really well. It was very well written. I got very, very sad during it. It was.
Yeah,
I
that's
also wasn't
great.
expecting Sasha to die. I was like, they're gonna overcome this. I was like, for people who were I was expecting to die, really was thinking it was gonna be Luke, because I would choose a Luke death over a Sasha death any day because Sasha is such a cool character.
Same. Luke is such a side character in my head. Sasha ties us to the Earthborns, and
Yeah.
also they were just talking about spending forever on Earth together, her and Wells.
Yeah, like Wells was literally just saying like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be with you at Mount Weather for like ever. Like I'm gonna like move here with you. Like I want to be with you." And they were like, they were gonna have it all."
So we
And like,
hop from this tragic couple to the couple where Glass is investing way too much time into her boyfriend. No
yeah, her
hobbies outside of
boyfriend who's
him.
dying before her eyes with his infection, I guess. He has a fever, which we know is bad. And Luke's seen too many action movies because he's like, we need to cauterize the wound.
He's like, I've seen Top Gun. I actually don't even think they do that in Top Gun, but they could.
No, but they might.
I've seen Die Hard.
Yeah,
I don't think they do it there then either.
and like Glass is like, I won't do that, which is like, girl, really, you're gonna back out now? So she basically gets this like metal rod hot enough for Luke to cauterize his own wound, and you want to know what? It doesn't do enough. So it's just like he's just burned himself.
It doesn't. He wakes up and it's puffy and irritated and red. I don't think that cauterizing was like the worst idea,
But I
but
think
also
with the
you
injury, it
have an
wasn't.
infection.
And also like if you can see the bone, I don't think you can cauterize that.
No. I
No,
don't think that they
that's
should have
real
done that.
bad.
I think that
That's
that was
really
a
bad.
really bad idea. I also think it's very funny that he has to do it himself because Glass is like, I'm scared. I don't think I could do it myself. I'd be like, get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
I'd be
Fucking
like,
do
lock
it, bitch."
in, bitch. We're doing this.
Exactly. I would be using every single bad word I know in my artisanal to just wreck my girlfriend.
You're like, I would bully my girlfriend into stabbing my wound with this metal rod to make it stop bleeding.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd be
and
pissed the fuck off. And then I think I'd keep bringing it up in dinner conversation. I'd be like, do you remember that one time? And she'd be like, stop it. And I'd be like, you
well,
went cauterize. I was gonna die, you guys. Everyone, I was gonna die. And
but
she
like,
went, this dumb bitch. And I'm
well,
like
it's like
still a
also,
little mad about it.
and I don't know if this is true, but I would also imagine that you'd want to cauterize a wound pretty quickly after it happens. And so the fact that Luke has a fever, have you ever had fever thoughts and you're fucking insane? Also, if someone's having a fever and is like, you need to cauterize my wound, I'd be like, go back to sleep. We're not doing this right now.
So they do that anyways. Nothing is beating this infection. He's fading fast, and Glass has got to get him back to camp while avoiding these Earthborns. Like, I'm not kidding. She walks out of the cabin, and they start whipping arrows at her.
And she's like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Like, but also the thought that she's like, let me check if I'm still surrounded. It's like, yeah, bitch, you're still surrounded.
You're still surrounded. You're not going to see them. It is the dead of
No.
night. They
It's
know how to blend into nature.
So she finds a sled that's like behind the door, and she's gonna strap Luke to this sled to drag him out of the house because he's too big for her to carry on her own.
She creates a diversion, which is there's a pile of logs outside that she somehow sets on fire. I'm not really sure how to visualize this scene, but I think the
Yeah.
fire makes its way back to the cabin, and all the smoke, they're going to die from like smoke inhalation. All the smoke is pouring into the cabin, so it creates kind of a big cloud that the Earthborns won't really be able to see them leave in.
Yeah. So it's a little weird because like she almost uses like she throws something into the wood pile to catch the house on fire. So she thinks like the Earthborns will see that like they're gonna die anyway. You can leave us alone. And then she
Mhm.
covers her and Luke in a wet blanket so it doesn't light on fire as quickly. And she's able to do like a little cat creepy crawly thing to get Luke into the boat, and they sail away as more arrows are being shot at them. The boat eventually stops moving and she docks it, and she's like, great, I'm gonna start moving in this direction. I think that's where the 100 camp is.
Wells, meanwhile, after Sasha's death, is feeling suicidal. Get in line, buddy. Clarke comes to comes to comfort him because yeah, that fucking blows. That's
It
not
does. I mean, like, so
great.
real. Wells is literally punching like the rock wall of Mount Weather till his hands
Ouchie.
are bleeding. Like, Wells, don't ruin your hands, please. But he's having like a string of panic thoughts where everything is his fault, which, like, I get it. His dad is dead. His girlfriend is dead. He is the reason all of this is happening because he broke the airlock.
Yes, and I do love this moment because he tells Clarke he has to offload his guilt to someone, and he admits that he broke the airlock, sped up the oxygen depletion for her, and she kind of has a moment where she's like, should I tell him that was a really stupid, bad idea? But she's got to reassure him to, "Oh, step back from that ledge, my friend." So she is like, listen, everything happens for a reason. That was very touching that you did all that to try to save me. That was
Yeah,
really
she was
nice.
like, "Probably not the best idea, but, like, I guess I appreciate it." But it's, like, also, we knew that the airlock was already kind of broken, so he just broke it more, so it's anything, he just kinda sped up the inevitable, so it's, like, it's not like he destined everybody to come back to Earth. They all had to come back anyway.
Yeah, it was gonna happen.
Eric and Felix are little gay boys from the
Our
camp.
little gay boys.
They are
Our
coming
little
to
gaga monsters.
little googie monsters. They're gonna knock on Mount Weather and be like, "We don't want to live at camp anymore. Can we live with you guys?"
Please, please, please. And Max is like, yeah, you can live with us. You're gonna have to fight. And they're like, that's fine. We fucking hate those guys. We jump at the opportunity to kill them.
Yeah, and they're like, Rhodes is planning an attack, just so you know. He's gonna come at dawn one day. And Max is like, great, we gotta start planning. Wells, come into the planning meeting. So Wells is really respected here, which is nice.
Yeah. Some Earthborns dispatched to kind of be up in the trees to ready themselves for battle. Clarke is one track mind Clarke in the radio room, missing her parents, fiddling around with the radio, and she does hear a voice right now. It's her mom getting through to her. She has a few moments to tell her mom that she is at Mount Weather, but she can't connect. They lose signal, and that's probably good because Rhodes' army, there's about 24 of them, which I think that the Earthborns could probably take.
But they have guns.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
They
the
have
gun,
guns.
the difference between, like, you can't bring a spear to a gunfight. I don't think that's gonna work very well. But yeah, Rhodes is early, and Bellamy is preparing for battle. Clarke's a little nervous watching Bellamy get ready. Max and Wells give a very powerful speech to the crowd of like why they're doing this, all of that. And Bellamy, who's been so confident about like, yeah, I'm gonna stick it to these people, is like gets really like, wait, when he starts seeing Clarke like also preparing for battle, and she's like, yeah, they need a medic on the field. Like,
And Wells, to add salt to the wound, is like, Bellamy, I think you're just going to draw attention. If you come out there, you should probably stay behind. And Bellamy reluctantly, very reluctantly agrees.
like so reluctantly that Bellamy's gonna like creep to the entrance of Mount Weather and crack the door open a little bit so we can like get the sights and sounds of what's going on. And Bellamy, for a fourth time this book, gets overwhelmed with feeling like he is putting all of these people in danger and it's all his fault. And so he runs out into the battlefield, and literally two people from Mount Weather immediately are like, no, you got to go back. We got to put you back in there, dude. And it doesn't work because a guard has already spotted him and immediately is like, we can make this easy. I have your sister. You got to come with me. And what's worse, snaps his finger. Two other guards have Clarke and Wells. And Bellamy's like, shit, well, I got to go with you guys because you've just listed off my 3 people that I care about. So
His execution is going to be at dawn. Also, very fascinating that it is pitted that the people who came down from space, the colonizers, have guns, and all of the native people of the land are just kind of fighting with makeshift weapons.
yeah,
History repeats itself.
it really does.
Meanwhile, Glass is still absolutely struggling with Luke through the woods.
Could
She's
you imagine dragging a sled across just grass and dirt? Like, sleds don't move like that.
Can you imagine how exhausting that would be for your arms, and simultaneously how much that would hurt to feel every bump when your bone is exposed? I would be pissed off. I would want
Man,
to, once again, ream my girlfriend's ass at a dinner party in front of other people.
Be like, remember when you dragged my sorry ass through the woods on a sled when you should have just let me fucking die, you bitch?
And then like someone's talking about something that's completely unrelated and you're like, OMG, that reminds me of the one time, and she's like, stop. When Glass, everyone know my bitch.
Yeah, my girlfriend Glass. She dragged my sorry ass through the woods on a sled when she should have just let my little booty die. Or found a wheelbarrow, because that would have been way more helpful.
Exactly. I'm sure that he is grateful and we would be grateful in hindsight, but I would have a little bit of resentment from how much pain I was in, and it would
But,
be
like,
hard not to externalize it.
if he truly is as feverish as it is written, maybe he's like very delirious and he's just like knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, maybe inside his mind it's just wee palace. He's just on a roller coaster.
I guess we won't know. We won't know. The hostages, Clarke, Wells, and Bellamy all arrive back at camp. Wells immediately notices the vibes are so fucking bad now.
Holy shit. Yeah, the camp has absolutely changed. The 100 are imprisoned again. They're building new buildings, like they're fucking building the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah.
There's animal carcasses, disgusting visual, just piled up. They do not know how to dispose of the carcasses after they have harvested it for meat, and it smells gross. I hated that. And no one is happy. Duh.
Everybody looks uneasy. Like, the 100 is obviously like famished and overworked. The people who aren't the 100 just look very uncomfortable and on edge. There's also apparently a bunch of people that are like in like their jail now because it's like everyone gets busted for like everything. And Wells is like, hey, listen, Wells, Bellamy, Clarke, thank you all for coming to my camp. You three will all be executed. The 100, in an act of defiance and peaceful protest, are going to surround Clarke, Wells, and Bellamy as they all three ultimately get blindfolded and dragged away into their confinement.
Yes. So the next morning, Bellamy is being led to his public execution. Vice Chancellor does let drop that he's going to spare Wells and Clarke.
Today, he emphasizes. He doesn't say forever. He says, I'm not going to kill them today, which, like, fuck you, man.
Exactly. And they unblindfold Bellamy. He's about to die. It's a really sad moment. He's just kind of like maintaining eye contact with Clarke, who is reassuring him that everything's going to be okay. I did start crying.
Oh yeah, no, this was I cried a lot in this book. I cried when Sasha died, and I cried when like Clarke is just like very stoically like making eye contact with Bellamy, like, just look at me. It was very, very well written.
Yeah. And just as they're about to shoot him, the bad guy Earthborns show up and they start fucking wreaking havoc on the camp.
And what we learn, the bad guys, the bad faction, stole guns. So they have those now. Shots are firing. A battle launches. A guard named Burnett on the ground. He was the one that was going to shoot Bellamy. So like, cool. We got an option. Wells,
Clarke, the keys.
Yeah. Wells, Clarke, and Bellamy immediately are like grabbing that key ring and getting those cuffs off. And it's a really cool scene because they all three go and grab weapons, and then they all line up like back to back, so they're forming a triangle and are completely in battle mode.
I love it. I love when each character has their signature weapon. Wells has an axe. Bellamy has his arrows. Clarke, not really sure.
Maybe, I don't remember what Clarke had.
I don't either, but I
like to think that she's fighting
with her hands because she's that badass.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting for their lives. They get separated when Bellamy happens upon the Vice Chancellor, who's in bad condition. He could easily kill him here.
He thinks about it. He really thinks about it.
And he helps him up instead. Why?
Because Bellamy is a changed person, and he's not going to sink to Rhodes' level. He's going to show Rhodes that he's above him, and he's going to take Rhodes back to camp. And Wells learned some things from Sasha. He's going to go to the outer perimeter to get higher, to get a better vantage point. And what he sees, bad. The Earthborns are destroying the most important structures that they have, like their supply shed, like where they store their water, things like that, where they like sleep at night. And he's like, this clearly is not a like random ransacking of buildings. It's clear that they know which buildings are the most important. And what does he see? Kendall, dressed a little bit differently, leading a group of Earthborns, and then he finally realizes this bitch is a spy and she's not from space.
I guess it would be pretty easy to masquerade as someone in the 100 because they have so much class division that you
Yeah.
might not know who this person is. The
Well, like,
ship was pretty big.
the thing you have to think about is like Kendall probably had to like steal clothes off of like one of the people who died at the crash landing's bodies because the clothes would be the dead
Yeah.
giveaway. And I thought like in the last book, I was like, Kendall's clearly just a fucking crazy bitch. I could just see this girl going psycho and being a traitor.
I
I
thought so
did
too.
not take the 2 cents to think she could just be an Earthborn cosplaying as a 100. So this was a really, really cool twist.
Yeah, this was a crazy shock. And Wells is in a part of the camp that's currently not being attacked because he is going to come from behind the Earthborns. He finds all these orphans terrified, hiding. They make a plan to attack the Earthborns from behind, which they do, and it actually does seem to work. Rhodes guys get the head of the Earthborns, and everyone basically waves their white flags. They are like, all right, I guess
They're like,
we'll lay
whoa,
down arms.
whoa, 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 you got our important guy? We'll stop, we'll stop, we'll stop. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
can negotiate, and everything seems to like calm. The dust has settled, and right when this battle ends, another group of colonists from space come, and they're like, "Thank God we found you guys!"
They're
Like
like, what
another
did we
dropship
miss?
that landed super off course has finally like traveled the 3 or 4 days to get back to camp. And one woman leading this charge, Wells immediately recognizes her. She is like one of the like assistants in Chancellor Jaha's office, and she's like, "Oh, your dad? No, no, no,
Didn't
no,
make
no,
it
no.
out, by the
Did not
way.
make it out. No, he was super coma
He
up
was
there."
super coma up there. Vice Chancellor Rhodes, meanwhile, asks to see Bellamy after the fighting has died down, and he does thank him for saving him, pardons him, duh, and also says we need a new morals and ethics to live by. Again, duh.
Duh. But like it's also really important to note here that like Rhodes is not being kind during this speech. It's like
No.
cuz he is such a fucking narcissist that
Yes.
he's being like he won't admit that he was wrong, but he's like, I've considered what I've heard and what I've seen, and I think that it would be a good to make the council like, and he's giving a lot of like backhanded compliments of being like, wow, I really did not think you guys would like figure it out, but I guess you did. Sure, you understand how to live on Earth. Great. I hate Rhodes. He sucks.
Exhausting. That is the most disappointing person to interact with, is someone who is purely apathetic and is constantly like, I guess I was shocked and I was surprised. It's like, no shit, because you don't listen to anyone.
Yeah.
So he is going to make up a morals and ethics committee, which Bellamy and Wells are going to be a part of. I kind of took it as like the Senate. I don't know. They're making the 3 rings of government. Glass arrives back at camp with not in the best of spirits Luke, because he is still fucking going. He's in Wee Land.
Yeah.
Clarke is like, oh, I will be right on attending to him because we can see his bone.
Yeah. And Clarke can like tell that, like, oh, I can handle this. Luke's gonna recover. We also note that the seasons are changing. It is quickly turning into fall here. And Wells and Bellamy, this is a few days later, Wells and Bellamy and Clarke are going to head to Mount Weather for Sasha's funeral.
Mm-hmm. They update Max that there will be a council now for order in the camp. Max is pleasantly surprised that Bellamy is on the council. Clarke goes to fiddle with the radio one more time, and when she turns around after hours of playing with it, her parents are there. So
They
they
reunite.
reunite.
Yeah,
They're
really
gonna be in the first
sweet.
book.
And then we cut to Sasha's funeral, which I also cried during because it was very, very sweet. Wells says like a really, really nice speech about
Yeah.
just you have to read it. It's just too good.
It's really good. He basically emphasizes that she was always looking up to space, wondering who was up there, and he was always looking down at Earth, and then they found each other, and they will, I guess, live on throughout time
Yeah,
now,
it's really
forever.
sweet. It's really
They had
fucking
their little
sweet.
moment.
We also learned that like Clarke has been catching up with her parents. They're gonna stay at Mount Weather during the funeral because they are nice people. So they're not like they're like, it would be weird for us to go to this funeral for this woman we did not know. We do not want to like intrude.
Mhm.
But the book ends with Clarke talking to Bellamy, and he's gonna go meet her parents, and they all just kind of have this finally comforting feeling that like they are home and it's all good.
Yeah, this is the first book that ends on a upturn, I would say, rather than
Yeah.
random shit. But I mean, random shit's gonna happen in the next book.
Yeah,
anyways.
you know, I'm gonna be honest. I started the 4th book, and it all quickly turns sour very fast because these books gotta have a conflict, you know.
Yeah, I really do love how these books kind of map over society
Yeah,
very well. Like them bringing the conflict in by bringing order to the camps, and also the fact that people maintained their own government for so long, and it was, I mean, a little bit socialist. Everyone is
yeah,
really working together, and there are some outliers, and they're trying to figure out how to dole out punishment is super fucking fascinating. I
yeah,
think that 4 books, haven't started the 4th, but is such an open and shut case, and you can just be like, this is how things play out over time
yeah,
constantly in societies.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
that being said, one thing that is huge in this book, one thing that is constant in society now and forever is war. And Laura and I have figured out, hey, at the White House, listen to us, top 5 ways to resolve conflict other than war.
Yeah, Maggie and I
Fucking stop it. We're done
are
with it.
campaigning to solve world peace with this single episode of our podcast.
Yeah, we don't need to invade foreign countries. We do not need domestic, I don't know, disputes here. We just need to resolve war, and boy, do we. We know how to do it, guys.
Our number 5 way to resolve war, or resolve conflict so it doesn't turn into war.
Mhm.
Let's all do a lock-in at Mount Weather. You know, Maggie and I, we did some church lock-ins growing up. I think
Yeah.
Maggie did a school lock-in. I did church lock-ins.
We were
But
always
you
doing
learn
church
so
shit.
much. You learn so much about the people you're with. It really brings everyone closer together, doesn't
You
it?
do. Everyone sings Kumbaya. They stay up late, and we put on Like Mike in the gym, and we watch it, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, we watched Big during my lock-in.
That's
You're either watching
awesome.
Big or you're watching Like Mike. It's nothing else.
It's one or the other. Number 4, speaking of kind of middle school activities that really bond people for life, why not bowling?
Wow, what if we took all our aggression out on those pins instead of each other?
Yeah, you got
Kind of
twigs. You can
beautiful.
line them up like pins.
Number 3, a surefire way to get close to people so fast. They should just throw a party and get really drunk. Man, the amount of times
Mhm.
I've made a new friend because I've gotten really drunk at a party. Amazing. Amazing. It really brings people close together.
That's why the girls' bathroom room is so,
It's happening in
religious.
there.
It's happening in there.
It's a safe space, you know?
Number 2, we really think that 15 minutes uninterrupted group meditation would do wonders for these people.
So wonders.
Put down the
Um,
gun and pick up mindfulness.
yeah, go sit by a waterfall, go listen to the sounds of the
Yeah.
birds, and have somebody guide you through a little meditation all together and be like,
Mhm.
you don't really need to fight each other. What if we just thought
Yeah.
about our feelings and then let them go? And number 1, Maggie and I think a game of spin the bottle would really reset the dynamics of these two groups. I think it really knocks everybody down a peg. It's going to make everyone a little bit awkward, a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to be goofy. So like
Yeah, it'll be a little whimsical,
it's
it'll
gonna
be a
be
little
like a little
crazy.
it's gonna be a little goofy. It's gonna be a little it's gonna be a little wooey, and
We'll
I think
be
that would
age
really help it.
conscious. We'll break them up into groups based on proper age, because
Yeah,
that would
yeah, yeah.
otherwise that
Megan
would
and
be
I are
crazy.
monsters, listeners.
Crazy.
We're delegating this correctly.
Exactly. And we had another book with 4 protagonists, so we need to check in on where they rank on the pyramid. Who is
Power
our least favorite
ranking.
this week? Who is our favorite this week?
Should I start?
Coming in, sure.
Oh
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Or do you want to start?
No, it's fine. You go.
Okay, number 4, going 2 for 2. We gotta put Glass. Glass was bottom last week.
Yeah.
Glass is bottom this week.
We talked about it at length, and we just agreed Glass was not hitting this book, and mostly because all of the joking aside, like, I mean, I would be very grateful if my partner saved me, but she just, her and Luke fucking bounced without considering the fact that the problem is not fixed. Someone is going to kill Bellamy anyways.
Yeah. Like, what I really would have loved is if Glass, like, made sure that Bellamy got out first and then bail with Luke. But the fact that
Yes.
you did that, like, you just dipped at the first sight of, like, I'm uncomfortable, someone's gonna die.
Mhm.
And, like, so you removed yourself from the situation rather than being like, let me actually help, was kind of shitty. Like, especially because we know Luke, I said it on the podcast. Luke is a guard. He probably could have helped Bellamy escape.
Yeah.
But no, you had to make Clarke go seduce a guy that basically assaulted her in her past. Not a girl's
Exactly.
girl, Glass.
Not
Not a girl's
girl's
girl.
girl. Especially after their kiki. Coming in at number 3.
That was so sad, especially after their Kiki.
Especially after their Kiki. I've been saying Kiki a lot lately.
That's
Number
good.
3, we are going with Bellamy. We know he got shot for crimes that he did not commit, but our problem with him here, this book, was the fact that he wouldn't fucking stay in Mount Weather. Don't endanger other people.
Yeah. Like,
Swallow your
yeah.
pride.
Swallow your pride. And yeah, and it's like I think we still have to rank Bellamy above like Glass, because Bellamy was doing like some semblance of trying to rewire his brain during this book,
Mhm.
which we do have to respect.
Yes.
Number 2, falling from 1 to 2, and this was a toss up, is Wells. I think Wells's arc for this book series has been really, really great, because we watch someone who's going through grief and trauma and also kind of put into this position of power, grapple with it. And Wells has really been handling himself well, pun intended.
Pun intended.
He's been handling himself well. He's been taking care of other people. He really has gotten to a point where in book 1 where he was trying to do what was right, Wells is actually doing what is right now. Like it's ingrained in him, and I really like seeing that in a character of like he truly is a like lawful good character.
And also legally, we can't put you at the bottom of your pyramid if your girlfriend died. We
Yeah,
just can't do it.
if you find out that your dad is absolutely dead and your girlfriend died all in one book and your half brother almost died as well, we cannot put you at the bottom of the pyramid this
That's
week.
a 3-punch combo.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 1, we have our bestie Clarke. I mean, she was attending every fucking person in the infirmary
Yeah.
and doing a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, the way Clarke sprung into action with the like dropships and was just like sicko mode, I'm in, I'm locked in, I know exactly, like it was like that, like you know that meme of that girl and she has like the graphs in front of her, like that's how like Clarke
Yes, she
can
was doing
analyze
math
like what
above
needs
all
to
of us.
do. And it was really cool. I was really happy to see like Clarke still helping with the main cause, but any free time she'd had still trying to look for her parents. It wasn't selfish in a way. She wasn't like dropping everything to go do that. It was clearly in her free time. Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
And that is going to be our episode on the 100 Homecoming. If you had a fun time, you can follow us on TikTok, is mostly where we post.
Yeah.
Yaoi Reddit, Blue Sky, Yaoi Reddit, 11 followers, and we would love the count to go up. And you can also email us. Just tell us how your week's going, what your thoughts and feelings are. We email back at Meggie and Laura present@gmail.com. And until then, I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week for the 100 Rebellion.
Ooh.
Bye.